If you are gonna, if you do pay bills, or if you are gonna pay bills, which all of us are eventually, I would say, I mean, get them rolling, get them going on auto pay so you know that you don't forget a bill and you're not late. But always make sure that you budgeted for those bills, because if that payment doesn't go through, well then, you know, your water, electricity, insurance, whatever, that can go away like that. And so always just be mindful of those recurring payments. In the next slide, just talking about savings accounts. So y'all, these are your best friend, especially when a rainy day hits. So I will say, start off, who has a savings account? Okay, love it. So, if you don't have a savings account, open one. Y'all, it is too easy to save $1,000. I promise you, like things are super expensive. You know, also y'all are in high school, so you may not want that level yet, but eventually once you graduate, save up $1,000 just like that, because if you have a blowout, God forbid, on a car, you know, or something else breaks, or hey, you know, we're a little behind on rent, so we need to dip into that emergency fund just a little bit. That $1,000 can get you, that can literally save you a whole mess of stuff to where you can afford it, right? And I have a point about that in the budgeting section, but I can bring it up now. For me personally, we have our emergency fund. It's saved up with 3 to 6 months of living expenses, and it took a lot of work to get there. But I will say, holy cow, it's worth it, because we had something go wrong, and for me personally, I want to be the one to say, hey, we don't make a lot of money, but you know, we've saved up enough for a rainy day. Well, now the rainy day's hit, you know. So do you want to go to a bank or go wherever or put it on a credit card and then have the responsibility of paying that back, maybe with interest, or do you want to say, hey, I wrote the check, we're good to go, we're in the clear, you know? I think what happened was it was when we were paying off debt, and when I talk about being a budget Nazi, like I had every single cent. I knew exactly where it was going. And I had messed up, and we had to pay our phone bill and rent, and so we got a couple $100 out of our emergency fund, put it to that. It was no problem. Wrote the check. We were good to go. Didn't have any and ifs or buts about it. But yes, so your savings account, you need to have an emergency fund. Now you can have multiple savings accounts. You can have multiple checking accounts. If you are going to have an emergency fund, if you choose to do that, get that going, and then get a savings account where you can save for a house or a car that you can buy, or a vacation that you want to go on, or any other big thing that you want to spend your money on, because it'll really grow fast if you have just automatic payments going into it and contributing to that. How this is, so there's different types of savings accounts, right? Like there's a basic savings account. Everywhere has those. Everywhere has money market accounts. All that means is, hey, I'm going to put in money to this savings account. It's going to pay me back a higher level of interest. All paying back interest means is that you are getting paid for your money, right? So if I have $1,000 in a money market account, interest comes up to be paid to me because I have my money at the bank, so they're going to reward me in a sense for having my money there. I'm going to make $15, right? Now, the more money you have in that, the more interest you are going to be paid from the bank, because they're saying, hey, your money's here, it's growing. You know, this is part of the cost that we have to keep you here. And there's high yield savings accounts. You'll see those everywhere. Drive down the road and look on billboards, and you'll see all these advertisements about high yield savings accounts. It's unreal. If you want to do those, go for it. You have to, I don't even have enough money to put into one of those. But you do have to build up your funds in order to get there. Those are a great asset once you get there. So on the next slide, I'm just going to say this again: let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. Save for a house. That's the biggest thing. Save for a car. Any vacations that you want to take. I love going to the beach. So we have money set aside for, hey, this is our beach vacation. So again, yeah, your emergency fund should be separate. And once you really get into adult life out of high school, I would recommend 3 to 6 months of living expenses, because so we were working, and so my wife, she didn't lose her job, but she couldn't get paid for about 3 months. And so we supplied that through our emergency fund savings account of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Now, of course, she went and got another job or two. We'll talk about that in a second, of why we did that. But we can still focus on banking, and then we'll get into the fun stuff, or what I think is the fun stuff at least. But so you can go to the next slide, Asher. So who in here has ever gotten a loan? Okay, we got one. So loans, I will say, there are different types of loans, right? Most commonly, you're going to go to a bank, you're going to apply for a loan, whether for a car or for a house. A family member may loan you money, a friend may loan you money. It could be anything. So a loan, if I give you $1,000 and I say, hey, you have to pay me back in a year, right? Now, since I gave that money to you, I'm going to want to be paid back, but I'm going to add interest on top of that. And so what that means is, let's say it's $1,000, it has 10% interest, so you're going to have to pay me back the principal, which is the $1,000, however many dollars a month, plus interest, which is the cost of me giving you money and you having it and having to pay back. Are y'all kind of tracking with me? A little bit? So where this kind of gets finicky is, I've talked to people that have gotten loans, and they'll look at me and they'll say, I have to pay that back? And the answer is a hard yes. You always have to pay it back. Please also pay on time, always. I will say that's a huge thing, is do not ever be late. That's why you have an emergency fund. That can hurt. That being late, if you do have a loan, can hurt your credit score, which is your ability to get a loan again. And I will say we look at that